Hello, everybody. Hi, this is Dr. Ken Mewich from the Fibromyalgia Wellness Center. And again, happy Labor Day. And for those that are laboring in pain because of fibromyalgia or other related conditions, and it's very, very interesting because fibromyalgia always has other conditions that are involved. You're laboring in pain, and so consequently, I thought I'd just take a few minutes to give some suggestions that I've done in the past, actually, to many patients, but also on talks. You can do a lot of things yourself to help hopefully alleviate some of this discomfort. Of course, you have your opioids and marijuana and also home remedies, sleep, rest, or just do nothing, obviously, if you're in that much pain. But you also have some other things to consider, such as your secondary conditions. As I mentioned to you in the past, every fibromyalgia patient has other conditions, whether it be osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, MS, you name it, a little bit of everything that might be tied in symptom-wise, very similar to fibromyalgia. So ask yourself, first of all, what can you do for the secondary conditions that you've been actually helping? Keep in mind, when you have fibromyalgia, again, fibromyalgia makes everything worse, okay? So if you already have a condition, osteoarthritis or hypothyroidism, hypoglycemia, it's going to make it worse, okay? And so first of all, find out what have you done that has helped the secondary condition. And that's the first thing that I would suggest you do. Because if your secondary condition is under control, then the fibromyalgia will be most likely less as far as discomfort is concerned. Now, the second thing is to keep inflammation down. And I've talked to people so many times about this. And the best way to keep inflammation down is by controlling what you ingest, what you put in your body. You know, there's all sorts of things in your air and what air you breathe, the water you drink, and so forth. But one thing that you can really control are those foods that cause inflammation within the body. These are the most common foods. They are those things that we take for granted. Sugar, gluten, that's wheat, rye, barley, malt. Sugars, the fake sugars and all the sugars that you have around the house, except for you can have stevia. Gluten, as I mentioned, with the breads and so forth. Trans fatty acids, think of those things that are on a shelf life, okay? All of the things that are in packages, that's on the shelf for a period of time because trans fats are used to keep it on the shelf for a longer period. That's why they're able to be on there. In the old days, you know, when something was on a shelf, if it didn't go, bango, it got bad. But now with trans fats, the trans fatty acids, that is able to stay on the shelves a lot longer. So you have sugar, gluten, trans fatty acids, and dairy. That's very, very important. Dairy of any processing whatsoever, any milks or cheeses and so forth, you should stay away from those. Of course, the almond milks and so forth are okay. You can have those. That's almonds and water, really, for the most part, so that's not really considered a dairy. The milk industry has been fighting almond milk for years, saying it's not a dairy product. It's not a dairy product, but it is by its name, almond milk in itself. So you want to make sure you stay off of sugar, gluten, trans fatty acids, and dairy products. Now, are you inflammatory? No, you may not. You may not be having an inflammatory problem from all of those, but there might be some in there of which you may be causing your pain to be worse. Inflammation causes pain, and so you want to get rid of everything you possibly can to reduce the possibility of additional pain. You know, you can have you have to have a little bit of thinking about this here, and that is you have to stay happy and healthy and active. Now, the one thing I don't suggest is exercise, like going to the gym and so forth, unless you can do it. If you can do that and have fibromyalgia, that's so much better for you. But what I would strongly suggest is things like healthy stretching. You can do it in a chair. I mean, just moving your head from side to side or leaning from one side to the other or bending over is supported and so forth. All those things are important. It takes those muscles and so forth that might be stiff and sore and achy and stretch them out and actually make it feel a little bit better. Don't go below pain. So if you already have pain, only go to the point where you might feel you have some additional pain. Then don't go any further. Of course, you have yoga, which A lot of patients come back and they say they love yoga, and that would be not the aggressive forms of yoga. That would be the exercise or hatha yoga, very nice and slow. And that's very similar to that of Tai Chi, which also is something that might be very, very good for each individual. And here's something else. Look, if you're tired, rest. The worst thing you can do is try to fight through the fatigue and so forth. You may need to take a nap. You might feel a lot better when you wake up. So that's another thing. Make sure you get some rest or take a nap if you need. That's very, very important. Now look, if you have a new pain, let's say you wake up this morning and you really have some neck pain, use some ice on it. If it's a chronic pain, if it's chronic that you have day after day after day, use heat on that. Ice is good for new conditions, new inflammatory responses. Heat is good for chronic problems. Ice, I've used this as an example before. Ice constricts the blood vessels, stops them from having any further problems. Whereas heat is a vasodilator. It dilates the blood vessels and allows blood to flow into a certain area, and it's more relaxing. Both are considered anti-inflammatory, really. But ice is for the new conditions, and heat is for the old chronic ones. Now, I've had some patients come in and say, hey, you know what? Ice is not any good, but heat really feels a lot better. Great. Use heat then. That's okay. Now, how long? Both of those you should have inside of a towel, by the way, not directly on your skin. You don't want to damage your skin and have another problem. And it should be no more than 15 minutes on and about a half hour off. And you can do that continuously. 15 minutes on inside of a cloth, then 30 minutes off, so forth and so on. Ice, obviously, same thing. Heat. If you don't have a heating pad, take a hand towel, wet it, wring it out, put it in a microwave for about a minute, and then take handles and pull it out and put it inside of another towel and then put it around. You don't take it and put it directly on your skin from that. Socializing is very, very important. So this is number 6, as a matter of fact. First one was considering your secondary conditions. Second one is keeping inflammation down. Third is staying active and healthy with stretching, so forth. Fourth, rest if you need it. 5, ice and or heat. 6, socializing. Forget your problems. Try not being alone. Try to be with some friends and socializing. Oftentimes, the socializing will take your mind off of your pain and actually be a real positive for you. So you might want to consider that as something that rather than locking yourself in a home, turning the lights off, so forth, and being away from everybody. Of course, if you have a migraine headache, that's another story. A quiet house in dark would be the best for you at that point. Number 7, I always consider this, I always consider this, and I love it myself, humor. Okay, try to find a movie that is a comedy, or read jokes, or do something. Just laugh. Laughing actually stimulates chemicals in your body that allows pain to alleviate many times, and it is very, very relaxing, and that's for stress, and that's for sure. Number 8 is trying to de-stress. Positive mental attitude. And that kind of goes with number 7 with and also the number 6, socializing. Positive mental attitude, try to be around positive people, try to think positive, because the more negative thoughts go in your mind, the more stress you have, and stress does cause chemicals to be produced that cause additional pain. Number 9 is very, very important. Just as important as consider your other conditions, consider the medications you're taking. Look at the labels, find out what the side effects are of your conditions or the medications that you're already taking. If the medications are causing joint and muscle pain, and your number 1 problem is joint and muscle pain, you may want to consider not staying on that medication or asking your doctor to give you something else other than what you're already taking. Read the directions, read what the side effects are. If you're already having headaches and this can cause additional headaches, you're not going to take that. That's not good for you, okay? That would be something, again, for you to consider and ask your doctor about, to give you something that doesn't have the symptoms that you already have. That's very, very important. I think we take for granted I know when I was younger, the doctor gave you medication, you just took it. When I got more and more knowledge and involved as far as what I was taking and medications, and of course going through medical school, I realized that every medication has some side effects. And for fibromyalgia patients, it's very difficult to find medications that do not have any of the side effects that you may have. But there are some that are out there. Or, you know, if you're just talking about pain relief, again, try some of these other 9 things that I've already given you, or the other 8 things. And number 10, know you're not alone. It's not in your mind. You know, you're not crazy. You actually have fibromyalgia as a condition. The International Health Organization has accepted fibromyalgia as at least a like chronic fatigue syndrome. It's considered a syndrome, but more important, you have an ICD-10 number for a medical condition. Okay, that's even more important than International Health Association that recognizes you and that you're not crazy. And that's very, very important to know that I, along with many other doctors out there, are trying to help you reach a healthy and successful return to health, that you're not alone, and that maybe many doctors will turn you away, but I never do, and there's a lot of other doctors out there that I'm trying to socialize with in a variety of other integrated health conditions to make sure to take care of you and your health problems. Fibromyalgia is a health condition. Again, it's not in your mind. You're not crazy, and we are here to help you do everything we possibly can to get you to a state of health. October 6 and 7 in the Franciscan Renewal Center, we're going to be having our beginning of our seminar, October 6th Saturday and October 7th Sunday half day for certified educational units that all doctors have to go through. We're going to be teaching doctors our protocol so that hopefully we'll have patients or doctors to take care of patients all over the United States with our protocol. I work with Dr. St. Amand, and his is the protocol where we detox you initially, and then we put you on what's called guaifenesin, which actually is something that you have to take to eradicate a lot of things out of your system, specifically phosphate and calcium in your cells that is really causing a lot of the problems that you're having, health problems. And so he's been at it for decades, so have I, almost 30 years, and we have helped many, many patients. If there's any questions you may have, you can just check with our website, Fibromyalgia Wellness Center, or my clinic, 480-948-4955, 480-948-4955. Thank you so very, very much. Sorry. I do hope that some of these ideas may help you through the rest of the Labor Day holiday, and that you look forward to the next Monday at 12:30 for another exciting seminar on various fibromyalgia fibromyalgia conditions and subjects, and things that might be able to help you through your condition itself. Thank you so very, very much. Again, this is Dr. Kenneth Muich, Fibromyalgia Wellness Center. Always glad to see you're back, and we're always glad to see that we can help you. Thank you so very, very much. Again, happy holiday. See you next Monday at 12:30 p.m. Bye-bye.